Infernal Kuudra, one of the most truly difficult bosses in Hypixel Skyblock, second only to Master Mode Floor 7. However, due to its immense difficulty, it gives some of the best rewards in the game, and is the fastest way to obtain Crimson Essence. This is the ultimate guide to Infernal Kuudra. Before we begin though, I'd just like to mention that a lot of the content in this video was created with the help of the Kuudra Gang Discord. The invite link will be down below. Also, if this video ends up helping you, you should subscribe. There's a bunch of giveaways going on in my Discord right now too, so you should definitely join. Let's begin. So, Kuudra has 5 tiers, ranging from Basic to Infernal, with Infernal giving by far the best rewards. Basic and Hot tiers of Kuudra only have 2 phases, and Burning and Fiery, which are tier 3 and tier 4, only have 3. While Infernal, the very last tier, has 4 phases. I'm going to be going through all phases, and I'll be leaving timestamps to each phase in the description, so you can watch whatever you need. For the basic, or maybe even hot tiers of Kuudra, you can probably get away with using relatively cheap items, such as a Juju or maybe even the Spirit Scepter. But for the higher tiers, you'll absolutely need to have a Hyperion, Terminator, Lava Rod, Remote Shop, Gyrokinetic Wand, Aspect of the End or Void, Golden Dragon, Precursor Eye, and a Wand of Atonement. At least one player in your party should also have a good deployable like a Plasma Flux. Again, this is only for the high tiers of Kuudra, so it's very likely that with a bit of skill, you'll be able to follow this guide for the lower tiers with much cheaper items. Just follow what I tell you as much as I can, with whatever items you have available to you. With a Cloak Sword, Spirit Mask, and Ender Pearls are also very nice to have. You'll also want a decently high tier Aurora Armor and Terra Armor set, if playing the higher tiers of Kuudra. Okay, that was a long list of items, but don't let that scare you too much, as lower tiers of Kuudra can still make very good money, and higher tiers make a big return on item investment. The specialist player should also have a drill, as well as a HOTM tree spec'd into mining speed. When going into Kuudra, each player should be assigned a route. You can view routes as something similar to dungeon classes. You select one at the start of a Kuudra run and can't change it later. Whatever route you pick will provide you with purchasable upgrades at the cost of tokens obtained by killing mobs. For most parties, you should be running with 1 crowd control player, 1 cannoneer and 2 specialists. With all that out of the way, let's get on to phase 1. This phase requires you to collect L's ballista supplies, which have fallen into the lava. As soon as you ready up at Ella, each player should go to one of the corners of Kuudra's Hollow and get as close to the lava as they can while sneaking. As soon as the fight starts, buy whatever route you were assigned to, assuming you have 50 tokens at the start of the run from the Crimson Essence shop. Supply crates can spawn around any of these locations, so make sure to stand decently near to one of these spots. After the supply spawns, immediately reel it in towards you. If you do this fast enough, you can avoid Kuudra's tentacle, which will attempt to pick you up and cancel progress towards picking the supply up. Immediately throw an Ender Pearl to the middle of the map by hotkeying to the hotbar slot in which you are holding pearls, to get the supply back instantly. If you happen to be playing crowd control and get picked up by the tentacle at the start, do not try to pick up the supply again, as your job of clearing the mobs is much more important for your team. If you're having trouble picking up the supplies and are playing specialist, remember to spend as many tokens as you can on the Steady Hands upgrade in the token shop. There are 2 complete save spots from tentacles, which I'll show on screen right now. You can't be picked up while standing here. You can also try and fish your supplies to a place with no tentacles to pick it up without obstacles. Once all crates have been delivered to the middle, phase 2 can begin. Phase 2 requires you to rebuild L's ballista to kill Kuudra. At this point, the specialist players should upgrade the ballista mechanic perk as much as they can. The crowd control player should upgrade Blight Slayer to level 2 and save the rest for nukes. The cannoneer should always dump all of their tokens into the steady aim perk, as it's very useful. Rebuilding the ballista requires you to sneak and punch the small piles of materials surrounding the ballista. This is fully fixed when all piles reach 100%, and the next phase can begin. Both specialists and the cannoneer should focus on rebuilding the ballista, and the crowd control player should kill the attacking mobs as they can reduce build progress. If there are no mobs, the crowd control player should obviously also help build. Whenever blazes spawn, the crowd control player should immediately nuke in order to lower them to 80% health, and then finish them off with Hyperion or other magic damage, to prevent them from killing everyone. Once the ballista's been rebuilt, you can move on to Phase 3. Before I tell you about Phase 3, let me first tell you about Harry's Network. It's a Minecraft server evolving around progressing using an assortment of custom enchantments obtainable from the Mystic Well. You can grind, fight, prestige, and most importantly, fish, a task I've done for over 10 hours on this server. If this interests you at all, you can log on to the server and type /redeem Tomcat to receive 2 super uber drops. This phase requires you to fuel L's ballista with fuel cells and stun Kuudra by entering his stomach and mining the tendrils located inside of him. Fun. One of the specialists in the party should be assigned the role of stunner, and should have a decent drill and a high mining speed setup. The stunner's job is to immediately get a fuel cell, deliver it to the middle, and then purchase a human cannonball from the Kuudra shop to enter Kuudra. Left click the cannon to aim and you'll be automatically launched within 3 seconds. Once inside, immediately start mining one of Kuudra's tendrils. Magma bacteria spawn inside of Kuudra's stomach and they hit hard. Ideally, you should equip your tankiest set for this phase. The fastest way to mine the pods is by alternating between mining one block and another and repeating. Also remember to use your mining speed boost. You should ideally get to 5% before the bacteria spawn. When it's at 5%, run around in a circle to avoid getting hit by the magma bacteria, until your team is ready for you to stun. While the stun is doing this, the crowd control and cannoneer players should each get 1 supply and the specialist player should get 2 to fully fuel the ballista. Make sure to go to supply safe spots or places with no tentacles nearby. The crowd control player, after getting a supply, should shoot the energized chunks into Kuudra to make sure Kuudra doesn't submerge, and should also clear mobs. When the ballista's fueled, the cannoneer player should stand near the ballista. The crowd control and specialist players should swap to their Terra armor set with a precursor eye and wait for Kuudra to be stunned. After this, the cannoneer player should mount the ballista immediately. When the stunner sees that this has happened in chat, they should instantly stun Kuudra by mining the last 5%, and the cannoneer should shoot. Both players wearing Terra armor should start shooting Kuudra. Precursor eye and duplex here are good because phase 3 is based off hits, not damage, and obviously duplex and the precursor eye do extra hits. If everything goes to plan, Kuudra should die with 1 ballista shot, meaning you've 1-phased. If your party isn't able to do this, the stunner should immediately re-enter Kuudra's stomach so that everyone can finish off Kuudra with just bow shots. If you're playing Burning or Fiery, congratulations, you've killed Kuudra. If you're playing Infernal, however, the fight isn't over yet. If this is the case, the stunner should not exit Kuudra's stomach, so that the animation before Phase 4 can be skipped. When Kuudra's health reaches 25%, Phase 4 begins. Phase 4 is quite possibly the most fun phase for any boss fight ever added to Skyblock, and is the reason you need a Terminator for the Infernal fight. This phase requires you to shoot Kuudra's head as it pops out of one of the walls of lava, while avoiding the tentacles which he throws at you. It's important to note that if you die during this phase, you will be final killed and cannot respawn, so don't die. Whoever has the worst gear in the party should use a last breath on Kuudra to reduce its defense to 50%. Everyone else, as well as the guy who shot the last breath, should then put as much firepower as they can into Kuudra. Everyone should be shooting Terminator at it while making sure to dodge tentacles. You can also use Ragnarok Axe, Sword of Bad Health, and Wand of Strength if you want a bit more damage. Once Kuudra has been finally defeated, the Infernal tier is complete, and you're rewarded with some of the best Kuudra loot in the game. That was the ultimate guide to Infernal Kuudra. I hope this video helped you understand a bit more about how the fight works, and if it did, you should definitely subscribe. I'll see you in the next one, and good night.